Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome back, guys, for our first show of the week. But rest assured, it seems like we're going to have no shortage of things to talk about. Some volatility already creeping into the markets and some things that will probably cause volatility throughout the week. We're going to cover all of that and then some on today's show. But first, I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Jackus, Louis Tuesday, and of course, Max. Welcome, guys. Hope we've had a great start to the week. I know, like I said, we're kind of already seeing some volatility enter the markets. Obviously, yesterday we had an escalation, some would probably call it, as far as what's going on in the Middle East. Will that transpire into anything else throughout the week? We have FOMC tomorrow. And of course, we even have a holiday later this week as well. So the markets will be closed on Thursday. But like I said, before we can really get into kind of dissecting this price action, before we can talk about where we think Bitcoin, ETH, and obviously equities are going to trade through, not just throughout the week, but obviously into the end of the month of June, I'm going to ask if you guys can smash the like button for us. It's always very appreciated at BBHQ when you guys do that. And of course, you help us keep the lights on here and continue to bring you this style of content. But we can go ahead and get right into the charts, right? Bitcoin was, it had an incredible recovery after, after a bit of a weekend scary. I think it was a Friday scary. Obviously, we had some consolidation over the weekend. On a Monday, we kind of squeezed those shorts out of the market. Today, we're seeing, some mean reversion. Or we kind of saw it before Tuesday through a headline. Basically Trump tweeting out that if you're in Tehran, you should probably leave. Markets flipped the switch, panicked, dumped. We had a squeeze overnight. Now we're kind of trying to see where the dust settles here into FOMC, right? Are we going to keep dumping now, potentially squeeze it higher into FOMC, and then see what Jerome Powell has for us later this week? I guess we'll just have to see. But certainly had quite the reaction from the headline yesterday after ETH was, I will say it was kind of like, well, ETH is teasing a breakout, but at the same time, ETH is coming into resistance. Got to be a little bit careful. If you longed into that, I'm sure that was a little bit difficult given how quickly we dumped. But nevertheless, I think this is probably still just consolidation before we ultimately resolve higher. Could that consolidation continue? Yes. Could ETH maybe even dip a little bit deeper throughout the week? Potentially, who knows? Especially with all these headlines that we're seeing. I think the thing that we should really be paying attention to, though, is this continued strength that we're seeing from equity markets. If we don't really see too much of a blink from stocks, it's hard to imagine that we see terribly deeper on Bitcoin and ETH. But of course, if everything starts to roll a little bit, then maybe we see 95K on BTC. Maybe we see whatever that level means for ETH. And obviously what that means for Solana as well. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets? Do we have, you don't have to give thoughts on the Middle Eastern conflict. Obviously, it's very complicated, but how are we viewing it within the entire picture for markets?
Well, hello, guys. Listen, you have ETH opened up, right? We've been in this range since early days of May. It's pretty annoying, I would say, for all market participants, whether you are wanting to see the price go up or down, unless you are a crab. In that case, this is your perfect situation if you are a crab trader. But I don't think anything, definitely nothing's changed from a macro perspective. Nothing has changed even from a local perspective to me. One day it's over, then the other we are back, and then it's over again. And in the meantime, again, we are where we were a month ago or even more than that. It's even just crypto reacting, right? It's not even stocks. Silver is pumping. So it's really, a questionable take whether it's just, market participants doing their thing, getting, leveraged long in the range at the highs and then getting short at the lows, and market makers having a field day. Question about that too, or is crypto front running the equities, right? We'll see, but nothing has changed, and my recommendation is to just reject this lower time frame noise for now.
Equities do look quite strong. I mean, here's the NASDAQ, right? It's I mean, it is like an arm's length away from price discovery. You're looking really, really solid. But obviously, like crypto doesn't look so good. I mean, it looks okay, right? Like high time frame trend is still very much so intact. But we're getting these just like really annoying lower time frame, shakeouts. So yeah, I mean, the hope is that we're not somehow like leading an equities dump and actually just like this is a pre-FOMC shakeout. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't really ask for a prettier picture here on the NASDAQ. It feels like this is vertical accumulation before a meat stick into price discovery. Then I also look at something like the Russell, which is green today. I mean, I know there's a lot of lines on this chart, but look at this diagonal here. It was suppressing us for quite some time. Finally broke out of it, retested it. Like, doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of resistance up until, I mean, this level, like another 7%. We're really just trying to work on like a V recovery here with small caps. So, it's a bit annoying to see, Bitcoin doing this while equities are looking like they honestly want price discovery.
I like the channel, Max. I like the channel.
Oh, I didn't make it. I stole it from a key opinion leader. I did it for engagement. So, I was trying to get clout online. So I stole it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the hope is that we don't put in some big puke before FOMC, especially with stocks green. I mean, we could look at some pair charts and look at like, here, let's look at like Bitcoin, NASDAQ or something. I mean, Bitcoin, NASDAQ doesn't honestly look that great right here. I mean, it just kind of looks awkward. So maybe it wants a little lower. See, but
it's a vertical cylinder that is going to break to the upside and go to gazillions. But I'm not even joking.
I mean, we could even, that doesn't work. Let's like.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, it looks fine generally. I'd say probably just keep an eye on this guy. It looks fine. It's just like an annoying FOMC day. But I wouldn't really be too here just because it's a little choppy. We'll do this instead. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin, NASDAQ pulling back a little bit, but it doesn't look like horrible. I don't love, if we viewed this like a range, I guess I don't want to see us like come back down and then, retest this level. But it's too early to be calling for that, in my opinion. So I think it's just, honestly, I mean, I have to just think this is a bleed it, dump it, almost irrationally into FOMC. This is kind of the classic crypto, and then we'll get some reversion out of it. We always say this on the show, but it's like, it's the same thing with New York Open. It's like you pump into New York Open, look out. Dump into New York Open, look out. Pump into FOMC, look out. Dump into FOMC, look out. Like it's a lot less common to see follow through on some of these like predictable events or calendar rollovers. So I don't know. I think things look all right. Just kind of an annoying day in crypto. Let's look at Bitcoin, SPX. Genuinely looks like the same, not a whole lot here right now.
Well, fair to say there is really no fundamental reason for BTC to be dropping right now on its own when stocks aren't, right? Or at least I have not seen one. Like, I don't know, some bug in the code, something type of stuff. So I rather view it right now that this is really just the market coming for leverage longs, then leverage shorts, then leverage longs, then leverage shorts, and really trying to shake everyone up before we see the directional move. That is obviously unless we would be going down for the June low, in which case I would expect this pullback to be more drawn out. But until then, like I'm going to just totally ignore this, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you could like the local price action is just oof. I mean, if you're trading on a lower time frame, I feel bad for you, but this is what you see a lot of the time before big moves, right? Lots of volatility, lots of reasons to second guess, right, where the markets are headed. A lot of up and down, right? Bulls get happy on the way up, bears get happy on the way down, and meanwhile we're just in a massive consolidation range, and that's just how it is, right? It's just how it works.
No, I think we could still see lower throughout this week. I don't know if it's going to happen now or after FOMC, but I tend to think if we're dumping into FOMC, we'll probably rally out of it, right? Because typically when we see de-risking into macro events, it's going to signal, hedges typically come off the board afterward. I mean, tomorrow, what are realistically our expectations? It seems like they're not going to cut. There's probably going to be another nothing burger if I had to guess.
Yeah, I can't see the Fed getting more hawkish. It's either going to be more of the same, which the markets have decided to be fine with, right? Out of the Fed, just doing nothing. I mean, at this point, with everything going on, they could ignore weakening GDP. They could ignore slightly decrease in the employment market, right? But I don't think they could just brush off and ignore the macro, which is all this war scare going on right now. I think that is something they can't ignore, right? That is something they can't just say, oh, we're data dependent on it, right? Like, it's something that they kind of have to address. And I think if they don't, I think it's gonna hurt their reputation moving forward, in my opinion. So I'm interested to see, right? But I mean, FOMC weeks, they always suck, right? It's always a lot of back and forth, a lot of wish wash in the local PA, and then ultimately we get our ultimate direction usually the day or the night following the FOMC. The interesting thing is that markets are closed the day after FOMC, so just another wrench to throw in, to throw at us as crypto participants. But I mean, I'm with Jackus, right? Nothing has fundamentally changed from my high time frame outlook, and a lot of this local price action and these news headlines are just noise, right? And not letting that cloud my judgment, which I know it probably is for a lot of people, right? And like, I'm human, right? Like, last night, watching beautiful daily candle closes get absolutely erased in the last 45 minutes of the day. It was frustrating, right? It's annoying. It's a lot of back and forth. But you kind of see most of the volatility in a market before expansion, right? Before the big move. So just waiting on that. I'm not going to trip over pennies chasing dollars here. So just got to wait and see. Get through this week.
The market went up, the market went down, and it went up, and now it's down again, and it can just as well be up again tomorrow. Again, like these lower time frame moves, there is zero meaning in them. And if honestly, and I just posted this, if you are stressing these lower time frame moves, you are still playing on the wrong time frames and likely losing money, because right now this move really changes nothing and you should be pretty unbothered.
I'm pretty bothered. Personally.
Well, the only thing you should be bothered about is just how annoying it is, right?
Yes.
And none of us enjoy this. But in terms of like your portfolio, should be pretty unbothered. It's just, yeah, I agree, Max. It's like it's one of the most annoying cycles. Probably no, it's not one of. It's the most annoying cycle. But yeah, everything.
I mean, we're getting pretty oversold here locally. Like I mean, look at your like 30-minute RSI is down below 20. You know, like we're getting
this down move is, yesterday's up move. I guess you can call it unorganic. This down move is just as unorganic, right? It's just a lot of
there's that meme
quote
about
unquote
like
price manipulation.
organic buying, like manipulated
Yeah, right.
selling.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, we're just in a range, right? We're consolidating, and anything, consolidation is price bouncing from one side of a structure to another until eventually picking a side. And by design, it's meant to get people, bullish at the extremes and bearish at the lower extremes, right? Until eventually making that move. And it does chop a lot of people up in the interim before the move happens. A lot of the time, people try to catch these free rides on leverage or whatever it is, or chasing super low beta altcoins. If you haven't been positioned already, trying to catch the next move on crypto, and you just get chopped up. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, and then eventually the move happens, and you're either depleted your capital or you've given up at that point. So I like what I'm seeing. Right, it's annoying, it's frustrating, but it tells me that there's a bigger move coming, right? There's a bigger move coming. So
there's bigger move coming for sure. We have one of the lowest volatility periods in years, or one of the lowest, yearly volatility. These very quick, sharp sell-off, while really not doing anything, are very healthy for the price, or like for the continuation of the upside, because in a bull market you get very quick scary shakeouts to the downside and then you revert, while in a bear market you get very quick scary pumps, right? And then you kind of get that slowerish reverse move, basically. So we just went down very quickly. If you're gonna look at the hourly chart on BTC, I'm not even sure how many there are, but it seems like there are 12 consecutive hourly down candles right now, which is absurd.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
we just hit lots of liquidations again. We could very well be basically 108K tomorrow. it's just it's just another day in this awesome range.
Yeah, I think that's the key word though, right? It's kind of just a range. And I know it's been obviously a pain in the ass to trade, right? I mean, think about yesterday. I mean, they looked ready for a breakout. We came into resistance. I remember I was on the afternoon call with Louis, and I was like, I was really thinking about bragging under my tweet or posting something about my counterparties, and instead I took profit.
Wow.
And then I'm at the gym, and all of a sudden all my price alerts go off. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I go, of course, it's probably some sort of headline, and that's what happened. I mean, in a range, you have to respect the range until it's not a range. And, I do feel pretty strongly as, aligned with you guys that eventually this range is going to break higher. But obviously right now, yeah, it is chopping people up.
Yeah,
But
just
what
crazy
PO3,
selling.
right? There is bearish PO3s and bullish PO3s, and it will depend on the time frame. That's the thing.
Oh, wait, is that another way of saying one more sweep of the lows? Is that
No. That's not. It's well, I'm not sure, right? Again, it depends, because like you can draw PO3 on so many time frames, and you can have like two and be like these are bullish, and you can have two that are bearish, and it will depend. And I can like I can give you a direct example, right?
once in a while there's a comment on market check that just I don't. What was that? What was that one the other day, Tommy? We had it. It came in after we closed the stream. Like
I think
right,
it was like the same sentiment as this one.
yeah, I think it had to do with XRP also. Let me go to the group chat. I think we saved it because it was that we were
I
cracking
think
up
it was the
after
same. I
stream.
think that's the same
It
guy.
might have been the same person.
No, it wasn't. It was a
And-
different profile picture. I remember that, but maybe he changed it. Let me see. I'll go back and find it. It was
Go find it, Max. In the meantime, I'll just, when discussing PO3s, because right here, when we were trading down here, there's been so many people who have been drawing like I'm not sure exactly how it was, but it was sort of like I know that they were drawing some bearish PO3s over here, something like, hey, we had, this move, and then we got, these moves, and then it's going to come down here, something in that regard. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, but that will depend on a time frame. And then you could have done the same thing here, right? It's like this little move and this one. Not sure if you guys can see that. But I was like, yeah, but you're also missing this one, right? You're missing this PO3 that we are currently undergoing, and this is the deviation. And so while one party was looking for this to be deviation and have a bearish move, I was looking for this to be a giant deviation and to send us higher up. And obviously I would, let me just change these colors so it's more visually pleasing. But I'm just saying that there are always reasons to be both bullish and bearish, and what matters is the context and the prevailing higher probabilities for the market, basically. So I would say the same thing can go around right now, where let's actually do that with ease, right? Let me find some clean chart, which I'm not sure I have, seems like. And then you can be like, oh, the same analogy I just used, right? You'll go and be like, yeah, sure, this is the range. We had a failed breakout, so this is the deviation, and that means that we now get the, let me maybe get a gray one, and that means that we now get this PO3 down here, right? That makes sense. Well, yes, and at the same time you can be like, hey, we just had this block of price, this giant range. That's your first accumulation. Then you get the deviation, and guess what? Now you're getting that upside, right? And I think this is the larger case. I think this is what we are getting. Obviously, I cannot rule out this one. But for that, we first do need to currently sweep this low. And if so, then yes, I think we get that further price drop down here. But at the same time, this lower time frame price action again doesn't change anything. You can just as well, you could have sort of, and I suppose that would already play out, but you could have done that here, where you would be like, yeah, we had this range, we had this fake out, we reclaimed it, and you had the upside. It could be it played out. But locally speaking, you couldn't just as easily sweep these lows And honestly, you can pump up and be higher here tomorrow, and flip this into a support. So it's not saying, price can go up or down. It's basically saying, hey, we remain macro bullish. The drop is, possible due to some reasons. To me, is less likely. But yeah, until we start losing this low, then we had the downtrend break. We are currently retesting it. So I honestly don't care here. That's about it. But yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I do have to say, technical TA hasn't been 100% lately. Yeah, there is just so much shenanigans. This market is getting very liquid. Lots of people have been totally drained out, and the trading volatility is super low, especially on the open market, because most of bigger guys are just getting OTC deals right now, so they are not really moving the market, and that's the result of this fucking retarded, sorry for those words, but it's just how probably every one of you must feel of this range. And doesn't matter if you were bullish or bearish, right? Because like there is tons of drops down below. You sweep high, you sweep low, you sweep high, you sweep lows, you sweep maybe some local highs here, lows, highs, lows, whatever, right? Just annoying as hell. If you're gonna zoom out on the weekly here and see the broader picture of where we are heading, look at this, right? Like, I think this is the most telling. We've been in these weekly closes for well, we've closed here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in what range? 2,540 to 2,500. Are you telling me that the current weekly closes are trading at a $40 ETH range for 7 consecutive weeks? And you're not telling me that crap is winning, Bogdanov is winning, right? So yeah, they are generating as much liquidity as possible. I don't think it changes anything from the macro perspective. We just gotta let them do their thing, because again, it seems to me most of open market trading is dead. That's why this range is taking so long, because they gotta generate those entries, and then when they do, they can sell future OTC deals.
This is one of the worst ETH ranges I've been around for, man. Just like,
I think I gotta agree, man.
it's
Like, you zoom out, Max. Tell me when it looked like this.
This has been the story of this cycle, right? It's just like one hell range to the next hell range, whether it's Bitcoin or ETH or whatever. But we have new players, right? There's new players at the table here, guys, and that's institutions and big money. And you could see them in the chart, right? Whales can't just hit the buy button, right? They have to generate liquidity. They have to create excitement at the highs, buy the lows, create more excitement at the highs, buy the lows. And that's what I think we're seeing. I think we're seeing accumulation across the board. You have Bitcoin, like large Bitcoin wallets continuing to increase in size, while the small Bitcoin wallets are reducing in size. So what does that tell you? It tells you that there's money changing hands from smaller retail investors right into the hands of big investors, right? So that's why we've seen these hellish ranges since 2023, 2024, right? Because we have an ETFs, right? We have large institutions trying to get a seat at the table, trying to get their foot in the door before crypto as an asset class really starts to mature and expand. And that's why it's difficult, right? We have bigger players playing their game, right? And you kind of have to adapt to that. And by adapting to that, what I've done is just kind of remain level-headed, right, in these choppy environments, right, and not flipping my bias every 4-hour candle, right, and looking at the trend. High time frame trend is up right now, right? So outlook for me going to the next 3 to 6 months is bullish, right? So not going to let the local price action, right, or these ranges take my cursor off the target here, because that's what they want to do, right? They want to play with your emotions, they want to chop you up, they want to test your conviction, and it's safe to say that everyone's conviction has been tested along the way up, and even some of the best, right? I've seen some of the best traders and crypto investors that I've found and learned from over the last 8 years, one by one, right? Getting shaken out and playing this market incorrectly, when the real thing to do was just play the high time frame trend, be patient, and then sure, along the way, you could take, smaller intermediate trades in the intermediate trend. But the high time frame trend or those dollars we're chasing are, 3, 6, 9 months down the road from here, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I think ETH is like V recoveries on a higher time frame. You have to think about like how long that actually takes, right? Like COVID, for example. And I'm not necessarily benchmarking this to COVID, right? Because obviously we didn't have as aggressive of a wipeout candle to kind of mark the bottom. But I mean, before we reclaim the highs, it was probably like 4 or 5 months, maybe even longer than that. So I think these things take time. We are chewing through. When you just look at that range that Jackus has up on ETH, what was it, like a 15, 16 month range? So we're trying to re-enter it right now. You're not going to do that on first go, but I think once you do, the hard part's probably already over at that point, beyond just maybe some chop towards the highs. But yeah, I mean, we're attempting a range re-acceptance here. I do think that those tend to be bullish. If we reject, it's a completely different story, right? But I do think contextually, given what we're seeing from equity markets, what we'll probably see from equity markets over the next few months and over the next year, I do think a range re-acceptance here makes sense, which, it's a lot of yap to say that we're chewing through supply.
I mean, this is the most absurd range in the history of ETH. Like literally. There's been a few that took, similar time, but look at all of these, right? 7%, 12%, 7%, 7%, 12%. This one, 2% range on a weekly closing basis. That's absurd. Obviously, the range is higher when you were to look at the, from like a daily perspective. So you would have that 7% just as back then, but yeah, this is crazy. We're getting that move out of it pretty soon. As you can see, these do not really last much longer. So if it's not this week, it's the probably next one. You're getting a move in June out of this, which is good, and then I think we can begin to move. All of these led to pretty violent moves after.
Yeah, I actually like that move from 2020 out of the 2020 lows, right? You had that big move off the bear market lows for ETH, and then 2020, and then you paused for a while. And if you got bearish in that range right there, yeah, no, to the right, top right. Nope, 2020. There, yeah. So like, yeah, sure, you went up a lot, you traded sideways, you had a little downside, you had a little pullback, but if you change your bias, which this is a weekly chart, so a lot of intermediary moves in a lower time frame, I'm sure, during 2020. But if you got bearish and caught with your pants down, flipping bias on that consolidation and that 2020 climb off the lows, you missed the meat of the move to all-time highs, right? And that's what I mean by like, you get these volatile pullbacks, you get these tight ranges, you get these super tight price compressions before expansion, right? Before the big move. And by design, they're trying to generate liquidity, right? Trying to get the best entry possible, and they do that by, they can't really move the chart on a high time frame basis, right? But they can mess around in the lower time frames, right? And that's what I think we're seeing, right? That's what I think we're seeing. So high time frame, looking at that ETH chart right now, all I see is a big sell off, recapture, a nice pump off the lows, and right now we've recaptured key market structure, right? Back inside that range for ETH, right? So sure, can we take a little dip to back to range lows for a retest before going higher? Yeah, sure. Doesn't change my bias, right? If you're playing the long game here, and that's time and time again proving to be the best approach, right?
I would even say, Louis, we are here.
Yeah, even there. Yeah,
we haven't even broken this high yet. I think this high is literally the same contextually wise as this one was. So I think we are yet to break here, and I could see a scenario in which we break that high, and then everyone will be looking to buy the retest of 4K, but it doesn't come. It will go to like straight to 6K, retest the prior all-time highs, like here. That's it. You're off to the races. And right now you're doing that V shape. You are in your first, pretty annoying range, but likely you're looking for this. This is still a possibility. As I was saying, until we fully get the weekly close above here, you can still get this, but I would still tend to think lower time frame wise, and with how we moved, that I do think we rather we probably now go to highs. I don't think there's that reason to drop, but it could happen. So yeah, be ready for it if it comes.
Yeah. I mean, we have event risk tomorrow. We know how FOMC and these things typically tend to trade, right? We see de-risking very often into them. We're not even really seeing de-risking in equities. It's kind of crazy how resilient equity markets have been. And I know that's something that we usually say before they tend to catch up to crypto. But I mean, I think the buoyancy that we're seeing on every dip kind of speaks for itself. Whether or not we get some sort of further escalation headline that forces equities lower, who knows? But I have to imagine when I don't know when the conflict's going to be resolved, but we do kind of have we're kind of like running out of things that could escalate the situation. Knock on wood, of course, but I feel like
those are famous last words, Tommy.
What was that?
Those are famous last words.
I know. I just think we're approaching like a climactic point within this saga that realistically we're probably closer to the end of it than we are the beginning, at least as far as its influence on markets.
Yeah, that's something I was saying yesterday in the Discord as well. I was like, eventually, the market is going to stop reacting to each and every headline, right? Because like obviously the initial headline, what was that, last Thursday, of the initial attack, whatever, and then now it's just like, maybe they're going to negotiate, maybe they're going to stop, this one's firing this missile, this and that, and as long as nothing gets like overly crazy where something really, really overly escalates, you're just going to have these smaller term headlines that like, this guy said this guy said that, and eventually the market's going to be like, okay, like we know there's war, we know what's going on, and eventually the markets will begin to shrug off these headlines, similar to what we saw with the tariffs, right? Similar to what we saw with the tariffs, like markets super volatile and super reactive to all those tariff news, each and every headline, each and every tweet, and over time, slowly but surely, the market began to react to those headlines less and less. And before you knew it, Bitcoin was, high time frame, putting in a reversal and put in like a 50% move off the lows. And if you're waiting for headlines and trading those, you missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
I mean,
I have
you
a
know, like
buddy
what
who has
can we do? What can we
Funny
do?
enough, I have a buddy who has a client who literally was in Israel. So he called him up just to check on him, see what's going on. He's like, yeah, we're in a bomb shelter, you know, blah blah blah. He's like, can you trade SPY for me right now? So even the people in Israel are still trying to trade the war the war news from Israel in their bunkers. I was like, wow, that's pretty insane. That's pretty crazy.
That's dedication to their craft right there. Trading from a
That's
war bunker.
That's just the trader mentality. Like nothing.
Low key, I'd probably be doing the same. I'd be like,
Yeah. All right, family's safe. We're good. All right, what's the market doing?
Wait, Nuke. Sorry, gotta put this, market long there.
You guys know that meme of the Chud Jack, right? Where he's like talking to the people on the computer, and then he goes and like closes the curtains with the nuke in the background.
I know. I'm not sure I have that one actually, but I do know.
Jackass, you must have it. You have every meme.
Jackass.
I don't. I know it somewhere, or at least a similar one.
Tommy, what do you think of the VIX?
Let me take a look. I mean, I still don't think it looks like super constructive. Could it give some form of complacency here? Yes. That would probably be how I'm viewing it. Like maybe you get another headline, spikes oil higher, markets a little bit lower, VIX up, but it doesn't look like it's about to enter a roaring uptrend. So I think that's probably going to be the brunt of it. But I'm not I'm not like a fortune teller as far as like what geopolitical events are going to occur. That's just my read on the VIX.
Well, I know you like to look at positioning too and stuff like that. That's like stuff I don't look at. Like I could see it maybe spiking a little higher. 20, 23, 50, 24, something like that. But like you, I don't see anything major coming from it. But I was just curious on what you saw there. But it always gets, the VIX always moves going to FOMC as well. So a lot in 1 week, right? It's just fun week, check week, fun week.
I guess we've got a gap up at like 30, but it's just not my, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. It's going to be entirely headline driven. It's not really going to be something that I think I can plan for. But yeah, I think if the VIX were to break above like 20, 23 or like even 25 and consolidate there for a bit, that might worry me a little bit more. But right now, I think we're still pretty firmly in a downtrend.
Indeed.
What do you think about the VIX, Jackus?
Well, it definitely has some potential for spike. I'll give you that. It did spike though. So maybe there is. I would tend to think that it crawls back now, back to the lows, and then there is a spike from higher up kind of situation. So how that could resolve in the market would be that you could see SPX breaking to new all-time highs, and then there is a that weak spike which retests the current levels, or like 6.1k or something on SPX.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that could play out.
Where are we at on the S&P? Well, ES is at 6,100 right now, basically. Are you talking about? Is SPX different? Oh, we got a contract rollover. Okay. That would explain it. Are there any altcoins that you guys are looking to buy on this dip specifically?
I'm basically just deployed and waiting, man, which, it's just like the ETH range is just causing a lot of annoyance, but I kind of have my positioning, like as just a waiting game. I think I have the winning tickers. I've done the analysis. I've shared the analysis. For me, it's just waiting for all this crap to subside. And I think it has a good chance to after FOMC, but I guess time will tell. But I'm not really eyeing anything right now, but I'd be open to looking at new stuff. What about you guys?
Yeah. I was kind of looking at Maker yesterday. Sky now. It's got a brand new ticker. It's got a brand new unit cost.
They did the rebrand.
Of course.
That seems familiar. Who else did that? Polygon.
It's a tradition like no other to generate exit liquidity. But new unit cost, I think, is just as attractive as the new logo rebrand, right? Nobody wants to buy $2,200 Maker tokens when you can buy them for 10 cents. It's pretty. It made me think a little bit harder about stock splits earlier this week. I was thinking about Nvidia specifically. We watched. I'm so used to Nvidia being $144 stock now that I completely forgot that it was over $1,000. I think it was over $1,000 last year. And yeah, I was just thinking to myself, I completely forgot they did a stock split. What a great cheat code to make your stock cheaper over time. Because yeah, I remember when it happened, I thought, yeah, I'm never going to view Nvidia as cheaply as I did. And it's just kind of subconsciously over time, I think, made me think of Nvidia as a little bit cheaper than it actually is. I don't know if you guys can relate, but
unit cost bias is a very real thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's I never understood it, but I understand, or trying to understand, how the normie mind thinks, and I understand that it's oh my God, I can never afford a Bitcoin, but I can afford Doge for pennies, man. And Doge is going to go to, if Doge goes to price of Bitcoin, I'm going to become a, gazillionaire. Yeah. Oh my God. And I'm bro, it's percentages. It's it doesn't matter what the price is, but
that works though. That worked on me with Telcoin, and it worked out. But yeah, people like to have a lot of coins.
People love to have a lot of coins. Yeah,
I get it. Works. I'd rather own 1 billion shit coins than 1 or 2 something else. I get it.
For me, it's easier math, even right. It's way easier to calculate if you own 1 or 10, maybe 100 of coins, versus if you own all of these absurd numbers where you own billions of coins, and then the price is 0.00000. I'm trying to figure out is it 5 or 6 zeros, and what do I? Oh my God, it's just so fucking annoying. But normies love it. What if it goes to $1? Oh my God.
Yeah, what if? Well, here's the thing: is people were doing that math with Doge 5 years ago, and now it's actually probably going to go to $1. So sometimes it works out. You just never know.
I know somebody who would protest that statement, Max.
Yeah, he's gonna owe me a dinner and golf is what's gonna happen.
It's not too late to back out of our ETH Bitcoin bet.
All right, hang on. Now you got me fired up. Let's pull this up here. All right, I made some serious headway over the past 45 days. I will say that, though. Oh man, I still got a lot of work to do.
I'm feeling good about it. I think ETH's top is going to come later than September, so.
There it is.
It should read ETH Bitcoin below 0.06 by end of September, and Max buys Tommy a stake.
No, it should not. It should not. I mean, look at this, man. Look at me picking up steam here. Oof, 36%. That's nice. Just a few more of those, and I've got it in the bag. So let's see. I need ETH BTC to go up 100 and basically 50% in the next 3 months, and I get a juicy stake.
Oh, it'll be worth it. Well, you're getting the stake either way. It's just it's a matter of who's paying for it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I feel like I could see some meat sticks from here, but it's gonna be close. Like, I think I'm gonna pick up some. Like, it's gonna be close, is what I think. It's like, no matter what, I think I'm gonna get here. The question is, do I get up in here? That I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna need a miracle is what I'm gonna need. I have this summer to do it. Can ETH basically rip 2.5x against Bitcoin this summer? It's happened before, but I'm gonna need one of these. Okay, I'm definitely gonna need one of these. Just I'm on like the weekly. You know, I'm gonna need one of these bad boys. It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be this. I've got no choice but for a literal ripper. Because I don't have to close September. It's just anytime before the end of September. So I have basically till October 1st. I just need a rip. It just has to wick above 0.06 and I win. You know, here's the thing is once that ball gets rolling, it can really, really pick up some steam. But the question is, can we get it rolling? What's probably going to happen is it's going to go like above 0.06 by like October 3rd, and I'll lose the bet by like 2 days. But here's the thing is if ETH BTC goes above 0.06, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm not really going to care. But I don't know.
I don't know when exactly it's going over there. I mean, who knows? It might not at all, but I think I'm safe with the timeline. I was a little worried when we made a few times over the last few weeks, but I think with the cycle seemingly extending itself a little bit, I think I'm safe.
I just want to put some pressure on you is what I want. I need like 0.05 by like end of July. So you're just you're a little too comfortable right now.
I am a little too comfortable.
I think I'm due is what I think it is. I think I'm due. I'm due for a little bit of pressure. We'll see. I mean, I think, oops, I didn't mean to do that. The real fun would occur, you know, if we can get above these highs right here. I think things can escalate pretty quickly. Here's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to move these to this line, so I don't need to have 2 drawings on there. There we go.
I love this.
ETH will never disappoint us. ETH will never make us proud, is what you meant to say. ETH will continually disappoint us.
I think ETH needs a father figure.
Yeah, it does. Dude, imagine ETH does this from here. Imagine this. If ETH does this, I'm quitting crypto permanently. I'll never be back. If ETH does this, I'm done. I'm retiring. I'm retiring poor. I'm done. That's it. I can't do it anymore.
Is that father figure Eric Trump?
What do you think about that, Jack? It's the whole thing with Tron.
I said Eric Trump, but the Trump.
No, I know, but like Eric Trump is getting appointed to their board or whatever.
Crime.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
crime though, or no?
Honestly.
Dude, what is this? What? Why do we pump for 1 week and then literally get chopped up for months, and then pump for 1 week and get chopped up for months? What is this?
Question.
And then all these goofballs on X just like P&L sharing, being like, ooh, like why would you ever like marry a bias when you could just scalp the 2-minute chart with me? And like, you know, like I've been cleaning up here. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, it's not true. Like, this is not true. Like, I don't doubt people have hit nice trades just playing this like a range, but I'm just like, stop acting like you're just like thriving and enjoying these conditions. That's just not real. Nobody
Bro.
out there is like, I just cannot
People
wait.
telling you these are fun conditions to trade are LARPing, dude. That's just a reality. They're doing it because they're bored, and that's fine. But don't pretend like it's fun to trade this stuff.
Oh yes, like ooh, all you had to do was just keep hitting these like 100R trades and like, you know, compounding every single one, and like now I'm worth $500 and I started with $2,000. I'm having so much fun, dude. What? Look at this. What?
Bitcoin moved 100 points, stopped to break even.
Those
Literally,
$1 P&L
that's it.
screenshots are so much worth it for those guys. Nothing like a $1 125x leverage long and short.
Such a clear setup here. How did you not see this coming?
Just looking at that range, just look at those thousands of times it swept the highs and lows. And you know where everyone has their, like, all of these scalpers, they have their stop losses just above the highs and lows.
Dude, like all these guys just like, you know, like, oh, it moved up, you know, and then they'll be like, ooh, like break of structure. And then they'll be like, ooh, I'm gonna like short this, you know, and then they like and then they do this, you know, and then they get
No, it's
destroyed.
too wide
And
stop loss, man. That
too
stop loss
then
would be
they'll
like
be like
$5.
this right here, you know, and
But
then they
do you
get,
know when they will post it? When it moves away.
yeah, then they try it again, you know, and they try it again, and then like they finally catch it, you know, and then they're like, ooh, like, ooh, a bajillion R. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, you seriously? Like, this is untrade. Like, I mean, I guess all you could do during these conditions is just like play a rate of every high and just be like, I'm just gonna like, without any like clear invalidation, just like short every sweep of every high or low, you know. Like, you could do this, I guess, if you identified the crab, you could just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna like enter on every sweep possible, you know, and just do this. There you go. Just short every sweep, long every sweep, you know. I guess that would work during a crab, but I don't know, man. Like, what the fuck am I looking at right now? What is this? Who is doing this? Who is doing this?
Larry Fink and the boys.
Try Alameda. Aren't they back in the books working on ETH? Probably doing the same thing again.
But this also gives me confidence that we're just going to end up like ripping out of this, because that's what we do. Like, it's just going to end up just the same thing over and over and over and over again.
No, techie guy. No. The rules are buy high, sell low. You didn't get it yet?
And trade on
Buy
my ref
high,
link. And
sell
trade on
low.
my
Trade
ref
on my ref link.
Yeah. And buy my shitcoin.
Or buy high and then sell higher.
Or buy high, panic sell the war news at the low, rip higher, then go on a FUD campaign, turn into a perma bear account, and then act like you were right on every pullback to new highs. That's kind of low key the move.
You see James Wynn say that he's thinking we're heading into the darkest period in human history yesterday.
That's actually
Okay.
bullish. That's good news.
What losing 100 mil does to a man.
I mean, he's definitely entering the darkest period, but I don't know about the rest of us. If I lost $100 million, I'd probably be pessimistic as well, honestly. But he could be right. I mean, if this war goes crazy and World War III happens, it's like, well, all right, I guess he's right. But I don't really think that's going to happen. Not that I have even any credibility to speak on geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, but gut feeling it doesn't happen.
You a Chud Jack, Max?
Dude, at this point I am Chud Jack. But yeah, here's what we're dealing with. I don't know what to say. We've been doing this for
It's
now
that one.
38
It's
days.
that one, but with the Chud Jack. I love the memes where it's like Gainsey on that meme. God. What a time. I mean, I really kind of just think it's, you know, delaying the inevitable. The way markets have reacted thus far, not just to the lows that we set in April, but also to just this conflict. I still think the path of least resistance is going to be higher, but yeah, there could be pullbacks. We're chopping through a lot of supply right now, especially on something like ETH. But yeah, I think when it's really kind of be that like 4K level, I know, but probably more so when we get above like 3K, we start to see I think ETH maybe not like outperform, but the doubts about I said this on a call yesterday. I think a lot of people are skeptical about the rally that markets are putting in right now because, you know, equities for one have not put in a new all-time high. They have not entered price discovery. Bitcoin technically did, yeah, we swept it, but I think, you know, it's like that whole structural logic. It makes sense. Could this be a bearish retest? I'm still in disbelief at this rally. In 2022, we saw a huge bear market rally that ended up selling off super aggressively. So I think some of those things are just psychologically embedded in market participants right now. But, and I asked this question to people yesterday, how does your opinion on the right tail in markets or the ceiling, you know, change if you see equities make an all-time high and Bitcoin trading into price discovery more, you know, I think more so than it has already? It probably changes, right? Because then you're not really viewing this current move. There's not really an argument for it to be a bearish retest anymore. I think at that point, you're talking about acceptance above the highs and probably a very different game. But yeah, I think there's like this hurdle that people are getting over because we haven't seen equities enter price discovery. And it's like that last domino, I think, that needs to fall before people really get excited about the right tail more so than buying just purely out of FOMO. I guess we'll see. I don't know how you guys think about that, but yeah, I think breaking the highs is contextually significant.
I mean, I think it feels like it's going to happen very soon. I mean, look how close we are. You know, look at QQQ. I mean, it's really not that much of a hurdle at this point. I feel like this is just like a V recovery out of here, but I do generally agree that like when equities finally like officially put in that break of the all-time high, I think it definitely kind of changes things up. I think it means a lot that they could climb out of a minus 20% drop. You know, we're talking about not individuals, we're talking about the index. So it's very close. I mean, here, let's look at SPY. You know, I mean, we're close. We're so close. I mean, that's like FOMC tomorrow. We could even just like meat stick out of FOMC and just like sweep the all-time high. Who knows? It's not even that crazy. So, or we roll over from here, double top. Where'd everyone go? The hell's
here.
going on?
I really don't think we're gonna see a double top, personally. But you know, I'll be honest, I don't quite know what to expect here, just based on the way that we're kind of trading largely off of headlines at this point. Even still, equities are pretty strong. Obviously, on the show already, we talked about how the VIX does look like it can bounce, but not necessarily super constructive. I don't know. To me, it feels like the market's looking for a reason to gap through all-time highs rather than distribute here. But
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to cut rates this week, guys. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
They will not. I think what will matter, of course, is if they are gonna say anything new or not, or if it's just going to be a regular, old Papa Powell, too late Powell, yeah, we are observing everything, and we will go meeting by meeting, and then the next one we will discuss. Or if he is going to be like, yeah, we are acknowledging this, we feel like there are some risk, or I do not know. He has to tackle something, man.
It's got to say something. Yeah.
He should tackle the. I don't think he will tackle much interest rates, honestly, but he should tackle the QT, and he should tackle probably the bond. I think he should be tackling long-term yields around the world, pretty much, which I think are an issue. I think he should tackle that.
What, you think that too slow Powell is going to do anything? Too late Powell? Not going to do anything. He's always too slow. That's what Trump told us. Always late, too slow.
And then overreacted.
He was slow for sure for hiking the rates in 2021.
Well, the past two FOMCs have been bullish for Bitcoin. The average return for Bitcoin for an FOMC period is 6%. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think I know people want him to cut rates. I just don't think that he will. The economy is still incredibly resilient. There's not really a reason for him to cut rates.
Yeah.
And I actually think in this context, that seems like the most bullish outcome for markets.
The only time, Tommy, he cuts rates is when the 10-year starts to drop. That's the only thing, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the yields will dictate Powell, not the other way around. But he is definitely not going to cut just because someone's bullying him.
Powell was not to be peer pressured.
Please hold.
Supreme leader. That sounds like from Star Wars, man. Oh, man. I feel like we truly are sometimes living in a matrix, man.
Why'd we sign up for this?
We didn't. You were just spawned here.
Who did this to us?
We picked the wrong map.
Did they could have spawned. Yeah, they could have put us in like some sick paradise map, and then they're like, "Nope, you'll trade ETH. That's what you'll do."
Are you having fun, Anon?
The hourly candles on Bitcoin for the last 12 hours are insane.
Let's
It's
count them.
insane.
No,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
like
this is
12.
organic selling, Louis. I know that this
Yeah.
is you don't understand, but this is perfectly organic. So let's see. 1,
Completely organic.
2, 3,
12.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is the 13th candle right here. That is, I don't know what to say about that.
That's like East BTC chart
Yeah.
on the weekly.
This is organic, no problem. Sailor must be twapping. That's it. He must be selling all of his Bitcoin. That's, dude, 13 straight red candles. What the heck is going on here?
Yeah, I'd have to guess that the local low for Bitcoin on the day is probably going to come within the next hour or so, whether it's like one big puke and then like it ends up being like a wick. But at least some sort of intraday bounce, right? Should be due at this point.
Yeah, I don't love that we're bleeding back towards that weekend low. I'll be honest. That makes me think we could puke below all the range lows. Not like the entire Bitcoin range, obviously, but like 100K.
Sorry, Tommy, I was just laughing at that indicator being at like 0, basically.
Yeah, because
Have we ever gone this low?
You know how we were talking yesterday about how like the BBRSI indicate. Yeah, I've been playing around with it, so I have all these like custom settings now. I'll share it with you later.
All right.
But this is like the sped up version that we were trying to emulate a little bit on terminal.
All right.
And yeah, when you calculate it this way, 1 hour RSI is at 3.
Can you go back if we like maybe put a line over there?
You want a line at 3?
Yeah.
This is the lowest that we've been.
Extend it to the left if we ever like had that.
Which way does this go? Wait.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
it
so
seems
we did
have.
tag it once here.
I like it.
So this is the only other time. Where the fuck did it go? Right here.
Yeah.
This is the only other time that we've been this oversold.
Was it also like
BBRSI
13
script.
candles?
What's that?
Was it also like 13 down candles?
Let's count. No, we had one break in between, but
all right, but it's sort of like, you know, yeah, that could have closed red too.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Let's go back even further. Even August 5th didn't get that low. Nope, nothing even. I'll extend this back even further here. Let's go minus 20,000. Nope. Nope. Yep, right here. We got it right here.
I like that one. Fits my bias.
It fits my bias. Send it. So basically, in the past, like, you know, I mean, nothing. Even Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. We didn't get there. I mean, we are just, somebody is panic selling their entire stack right now. I mean, do you realize like this is just insane?
Imagine Sailor for the first time in history coming in and be like, MicroStrategy sold Bitcoin at an average price. It now holds.
Dude, I think honestly we would pump out of that if he was like, we finished selling our entire stack and like this is all the damage that was done. I think we would pump right after that. People would be like immediately. Yeah. But yeah, we are getting crazily over. So let's check like the 2 hour. Not quite as bad. The 1 hour is just really, really, really bad. 4 hour, not even bad. You know, but like the lower time frames, like the 30-minute and 1 hour. Like such an aggressive local sell-off here, guys. Like crazy.
Tommy,
Yes.
you have that copy pasta. That's it. I'm completely out of the cryptocurrency market. Price manipulation, violet dumping. I can't take this anymore.
Life has dreams. Each is
She's
wonderful.
wonderful.
So good. I just figure most of this will be done by Friday, Saturday. That's my my base case right now.
Well, I was promised joyful June, and I'm not having a good time. I'm not feeling any joy, and I want it to stop.
We're kind of just doing Rect Proof's weekly plan to a T. I'm not gonna lie, but
Dude, what is happening?
What do flows look like? What's like open interest and stuff like that looking like?
I just don't think there's much froth in open interest. But yeah, I mean, when we talk about like who's bidding, I mean, it's Ben Saylor, and I think he's out of money right now.
That hourly chart, that literally looks like if you had a coin that was pump and dumped by a market maker and he just stopped the algo on a shit coin with, you know, sub 50 million market cap, and there is just no bid. There is just no real bid, and it just he just stopped the algo and there are only sellers left. That's how it looks like, that hourly chart.
It's horrible. I mean, I was looking for this
kind of
level
remind
to get hit, but yeah.
It does kind of remind of what it did in Q4 last year, I will say.
This thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to breach this level here at all. I mean, there's a clip on my X. I retweeted it. We clipped it yesterday. I was talking about a final FOMC annoying puke down to this level. And here we are. So, I mean, I was expecting this to be somewhat of a likely possibility. It just, when I started to see this yesterday, I was like, all right, FOMC in 48 hours, like they're going to rinse this, you know, but I do not expect this region to, I don't expect this region to give out. I don't. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's the same spot over here. Like, I think they're just walking it lower. Like, it's a bullish pattern on top of support after a shift of market structure, right? It's like, this is a market structure break to the upside. I guess there were multiple here, but let's just say this one, right? Just so nobody can argue against me. Shift of structure, falling bullish pattern. I think they're going to pop it out of here pretty hard. Yeah, well,
I guess if they want to keep dumping it, my question would be like, what the hell's about to happen to Solana?
Is Pump Fund like done?
I don't think so. I just don't think they've launched their token yet. When do we know when that
suspension
launch is
real?
occurring?
Is it even going to happen? Like, I heard that they got like suspended on Twitter. Not that like means anything, but it could. You know, if their Twitter got suspended and stuff like that, it's a little weird, no?
It's a little weird, yeah.
That's suspicious. They're just going to take more money and run.
Hasn't stopped them before.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at Farcoin kind of looks to me like it wants to come into like, or back into the low. I'm not going to lie when I look at it. I don't really think it's going to make lower lows necessarily, but like in the 80 senses, I kind of feel like that makes sense.
I think this should be the low here for Pepe.
Yeah,
right
I
in
like
here.
this level.
It's holding my standard deviation cloud. Like, you really don't breach these clouds. It's pretty unlikely. I mean, we could start a serious downtrend, but assuming high time frame structure remains intact, unlikely, you know.
You weren't buying Pepe at the lows. You've been getting rinsed chasing this pump that we got a month and a half ago.
Many such.
Once again, people won't be bidding here. It'll start to pump again, and then they'll chase that pump right into the next consolidation, rinse, repeat. In crypto, you're either early or late, right? So in that essence, you're forced to buy charts that look horrible, right? That's pretty much how I go about it, right? Obviously within reason, you know. But you're forced to buy red days, you're forced to buy multi-week bleeding consolidations. That's kind of when you need to do your business. But the sad part is people sell during these and they buy when it pumps, and they just get rinsed over and over and over again. Yeah.
I think we should rip out of FOMC. Franco said, could recent Pepe PA fractal compare to the top pattern? I guess let's try. Are you talking about an inverse like this? Or are you talking about or he's getting bared up and he's thinking this? I don't know what, Franco. I don't know what you're referring to.
I think he was referring to the top one as a bearish one, where you take the first Coinbase pump and then apply it to the first May pump. But I don't think it, like, you can put it on. Let's entertain that. But although, you know, but I don't think this is going to be the case, because the move in May was impulsive for both ETH and Pepe. So you would like, again, you know, we are coming back to the question. The only way these scenarios start to play out is if the world really nukes itself and everything's over and you go into a 1929 style of a recession. Unless that happens, you know, this is very unlikely scenario. The reasoning for why Pepe dropped back then is because, so you do not want to use this type of fractal right now unless, you know, something fundamental changes. But the reason why this scenario played out in back then was because we were changing the market direction and we had the tariffs coming up.
So it's like the question would be, are we doing something more like this? Or are we doing something for ETH more akin to this? Because this would be the fractal you're talking about.
Not me.
No, I'm Franco in the comments. So it's like, which one would we be doing is the question. Because like obviously Pepe, if ETH goes up, Pepe goes up. You know, like we wouldn't see a scenario, or it'd be super unlikely for like ETH to move up and Pepe to put in like a major bear fractal. Like this happened because ETH just sold off. So like you need to see ETH literally like, you know what I mean, back down to the lows, and then you would see Pepe just get destroyed. But I think if ETH moves up here, then it's just really simple. Then we just do this. But it's a big, obviously, if, because it's ETH. But I think it's contextually, I would want to think that contextually we are not in like a shoulder for ETH about to roll over. I would want to think that we just came out of like a horrible, horrible downtrend, and we're just like chop solidating before we end up, eventually mark up higher. But yeah, I mean, I guess anything's possible. It is ETH, so we'll see. But all right, I think that should end the show. Tommy, would you do us the courtesy of taking us out?
All right, guys, we hope that you enjoyed the show today. Obviously talked about the week that we've already had and the week that we will probably continue to have from a volatility standpoint. But definitely seems like things are heating up. We'll be here through a week to cover it for you guys. So if you enjoyed Market Check today, we'll be back for another episode tomorrow with our typical start time around 11:15 Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, make sure to tune in as well to wrap up your day with Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is through our Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribed to Because Bitcoin as well as King Wabi's account, so you can be notified not just when we schedule those spaces, but of course also when we go live. But thanks again for tuning in, guys. Before you depart, just wanted to run a little commercial by you guys for the BB terminal, which, as we've said, is your go-to tool for this cycle. That is true whether or not you are an expert, whether or not you are a beginner. You will find tremendous utility out of this product. And it's also true, whether or not you're an active trader or whether or not you are participating on chain, long-term investments, and looking for data to help you make decisions. In that regard, check out the BB Terminal, guys. And a reminder that you can get your foot in the door completely for free through our portfolio tracking. So everything is linked in the description below. We hope that you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Thank you again for tuning in. And of course, as always, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.